Hey everyone, welcome back to Modern Retro Gal. My name is JL and this is my last video for 2017. This has been a really interesting year for me and a lot of other people. We had some really amazing time, some really great adventures, but I had a really hard time throughout this year also. I know a lot of people are kind of in the same boat. And so I just wanted to come on with a really personal message for you guys. Excuse me. Yeah, just a message to let you know that if you are going through any of the same things, that you're not okay. Or you're not okay, that you're not alone. You are okay. You are not alone. So this year, I would say my depression was probably at its worst. I haven't really talked too much about this here. If you've been a subscriber of mine for a number of years, you've noticed like every once in a while I'll sprinkle in these sort of like health update videos where I've been like dealing with some things and struggling with some things and trying to get to a healthier place. A lot of that was due to the fact that I have been dealing with depression for a long time. Probably at least as long as I've been on YouTube, which I just checked, and this is my 6th year on YouTube. It's really been longer than that. So I have been kind of at this kind of steady, it's kind of like a low grade depression with moments of major depression. So the way, and I am at this point going through treatment for my depression. I have a therapist, I have a psychiatrist to deal with the medication aspect, and I'm doing a group therapy class. It's just what I needed to do to get myself better. And it took me a long time. It took me until this year to really accept that I have depression, and I have been living with depression for a really long time. It's really gotten in the way of my living. Instead of being in the moment, oftentimes I have just been sort of existing. And so I've been very disconnected with my family, with a lot of friends. And so my hope is that by going through this treatment plan, that next year is going to be an even better year than this year, and that I will be much more present in my life. So basically what I have learned is that if you could have like a normal bar here, this plane would be for someone who is not depressed. So the depression that I have is sort of down here. It's not all the way normal, but it's not a major depression, which a major depression you would come way down here. There's sort of this arc of emotion. So this is normal. This right down here would be the kind of like constant low grade depression, and then you would sort of come even further down during a major depression. Coming way up high up on that arc above normal would be manic depression or bipolar disorder. So, it's been a month, I think just about a month that I have started this process. I was really scared. I felt pretty resistant about doing it. Even after I saw my GP, she did not want to just prescribe an antidepressant for me. She really wanted me to go and talk to someone, which I'm really thankful that back in, I guess it was October, our insurance changed. Our insurance carrier changed, and this process has been much easier and much smoother since. So I saw my GP in October, and it took me a full month to call the mental health services within our healthcare provider to start this process, because I was just still like, why can't she just like prescribe me an antidepressant and let me go on my way? Why do I have to talk to anybody? Why do I have to like go to these classes? And even when I went to my first class, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go to another one. And I have been. It's an 8-week course for the depression class. There is another class after that I can go to if I want. That's sort of like a post-depression class, aftercare kind of class. It's like, what do you do once you've gone through the class and you still might need a little extra help? I do see a therapist. I'm going like every other week now, so about every 2 to 3 weeks I go and see him. But if I feel like I need to go or talk or whatever, we can do a phone appointment. I can go in before that. So for the first time in probably about 10 years, I feel like there is definitely light at the end of this tunnel. I understand why my brain has been working the way it has. I finally understand that depression really is a liar. And, you know, it's not easy to move out of the fog. But when you learn the tools, it makes you realize like that you can do this, you can make it through it, and you kind of start to see behaviors that are sort of the beginnings of a depression episode, so that you can hopefully try to avoid it or at least minimize it. Will I be on medication for the rest of my life? I don't know. They usually sort of, you go through it, and after about 6 months they try, and at least with the doctors that I'm seeing, this is their typical plan, is you start to wean off after about 6 months and see how you go. And if you need to go continue it, then you can continue it. If you decide at any point that you don't want to take it, you can stop taking it. The doctor will help you reduce your dosage and go off of it. So, you know, this isn't, it's kind of a weird feeling, because I am starting to feel better. I talked to my therapist and said I kind of feel like I'm going back into the land of the living, but I still have these moments of all of this stuff swirling in my head and sort of waiting for the ball to drop. And that's one of the things that depression does. Depression is all those, you know, negative thoughts that sort of pull you down. So I just have to keep reminding myself that depression is a liar, that I can get through this. I will get through this. You know, this is most likely something that I will have to deal with from potentially the rest of my life. The kind of depression that I deal with is the type that is a much higher likelihood of relapse into another depression cycle. Any kind of depression that you get, whether it's a one-time thing or not, once you have one episode, you are more likely to have another episode. It's just one of the things. But when you start to recognize things, it's much easier to minimize those episodes. So the reason, why am I telling you all this? Because it has had a huge impact on my life. It's had a huge impact on my channel. If you don't see me uploading regularly, this is why. But I know that so many people are dealing with this and they don't know how to get help. So one of my reasons for coming on is, if you have been feeling like there is just this hole that you can't get your life out of, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to go to a doctor and say, I think I need help with this. There's nothing wrong with it. we don't stigmatize people who have chronic health illnesses that have to go to the doctor regularly and get medication to deal with those things, but people who have mental health issues, there's still this stigma. It's so upsetting for me. And the hardest day was this year on Mental Health Awareness Day, was a few months back. That's when I wanted to put this video up. That's when I wanted to do this video, and I couldn't. I couldn't do it. I wasn't strong enough yet. So that is why I wanted to end this year with this video, because I know that for so many people, this last year has been a struggle, and it's been a hard year, and it's been a year where there has been significant loss in the world. I'm no stranger to that. And it's really important that we take care of ourselves and that we recognize when we need that extra help. If you don't have insurance, if your insurance doesn't cover mental health issues, things that I encourage you to Google about. One of them is called Mindfulness. There are books on mindfulness. There are apps for mindfulness. It's really about being present in the moment and aware of what you're feeling and where your thoughts are going. So I encourage you to Google those things. There's another thing called CBT. It's cognitive behavioral therapy. It's really about looking at what your behavior is when you're in a depression and looking at how you can do the opposite, even in little ways. And sometimes it's very difficult. So I encourage you to also Google that. Check in your area for support groups. If you can't afford or if your insurance doesn't cover like a therapist or something like that, look for support groups. I was very I don't know about this whole support group thing, but it has been pleasantly a very encouraging thing, and it's something for me every week that I do, that's for myself, that's for my mental health. It's part of my self-care. So it's been really helpful. It's not a bunch of people standing around holding hands singing Kumbaya, or someone crying and being oh, woe is me, everything's wrong with my life. It's really a teacher-driven class that is very specific to teaching you about depression and steps that you can make to help ease that and come out of it and recognize your behaviors that you may be lapsing into a cycle. So if you're worried about the insurance aspect and not being able to afford it, there's definitely ways around that. It's not the kind of traditional way as far as seeking help from a doctor, but I do encourage you to check some of those things out. Mindfulness is great for anyone, even if you have stress. There's mindfulness for depression and there's mindfulness for anxiety. So depending on what you're dealing with, there are ways to apply it to both. And if you're unsure, the way they explained it is anxiety is worrying about things that are going to happen in the future and obsessing over those, and depression is worrying about things that have happened in the past and obsessing over those. So I am very much looking forward to this next year and another year of content with you, and another year with my gal pals Jennifer and Heather over at Classy Chicks Vintage Flicks. That happens once a month on Jennifer's channel, Vintage Vanity. I will link that below. We do that once a month where we review classic movies, and it is a live stream on her channel. We have a Facebook group. I will link that down below, so if that sounds like something you might be interested in, you can join the Facebook group, and that's where we post the movies. We get your feedback on what movies you want to see. My hope for this next year is to finally have my actual filming space set up with proper lighting. That's kind of my next big project for this office. is to do that. The kids will be off for almost 3.5 weeks for their winter break. So I'm hoping to get to that while they're home, while I don't have to shuffle kids back and forth to school. So that's really kind of it. I think I don't want this to come off as a downer video. This is really a video of hope and for the next year and for the future, and I am just taking it one day at a time, because that is all I can do, is just think about one day. So today, you know, is today, and I'm worried about what's happening today for today. Tomorrow I will deal with tomorrow. That's part of my recovery plan. That is part of the process. So if you are curious about any of this, or would like any suggestions possibly on books or websites or anything, just comment down below. I can give you some resources that have been given to me. But again, I encourage you to check with your doctor, check with your insurance provider, to see, you know, even if you don't feel like you need to go the medication route, that's okay. You don't have to. That's just part of my recovery plan. But going and talking, it really has been a tremendous learning experience. It's not me laying on a couch crying to my therapist. It's really about what's been going on the last week or 2 weeks, and how have I handled those situations. What have I done right? What did I, you know, waver, or how did, you know, why did I forget to use one of the tools that I've learned? And it's okay if I did, because we don't always remember them. And sort of going forward, like, what do I want to work on next? What do I want? Because it's a very active process. So that is it. I hope, you know, this year has not been too horrible for any of you. Like I said, we had some really great moments this year. We had a couple of really great family vacations. Viva was fun. I got to see my Jennifer. You know, we had some really fun times. And so I have a very positive outlook for next year, and for each day and each month going forward. So thank you so much to everyone for being one of my wonderful subscribers. I really appreciate you all. I hope you all are doing really well. Like I said, if you're having troubles, if you're feeling this overwhelming frustration or sadness in your life, you know, reach out to me. I will do whatever I can to sort of help, you know, direct you towards the right, you know, support group for you locally. I can give you some of the resources that I have. And, you know, we can all get on this amazing road to recovery and have a great life, because that's the most important thing. So that is it for me. I will see you all in the coming new year. And yeah, that's about it for me for today. Again, thank you all for being wonderful subscribers this year, and all of your support. I really do appreciate it. This has been really fun since starting my channel, getting to know all of you. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. So that's it for me. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.